Hi, it's Nathan Crane here, Director of Panacea Life School and President of Panacea Publishing and founder of Best of Raw LLC. And I am just super excited to be here with Lisa Wilson, who is the Director, the founder of the Raw Food Institute. She's an amazing speaker and author and somebody who just has a lot of wealth of knowledge to share around health. And today she's going to be sharing with us some ideas around the relationships in our lives and how that affects every part of our health. So thank you for being here.
My pleasure. I wanted to talk about this topic. First of all, I love what you're doing, embracing not just the food piece, but the whole piece. And so this is great. This is really great. Because once you get clean, once your body gets clean, your mind starts to expand and you start to be open to possibilities you were never open to perhaps before. And as I was sharing earlier, the one thing that I know for sure in my life is that, and it took me a long time to wrap my brain around this, is that we're not victims in our life. Everything that first appears bad is always good. And the universe is always conspiring in our favor. So I know when I had Graves' disease.
What was that?
I had Graves' disease at
Graves'
one point.
disease?
Yeah.
And what is that? I've never heard of that.
It's way overactive thyroid.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I reached down one day in the shower. I was super thirsty. I was having trouble public speaking, and I'm a public speaker.
Yeah.
And I had these huge nodules on my thyroid. And I went and had a sonogram and had blood work, and everything confirmed that it was indeed Graves' disease. And the conventional way to treat that is to remove your thyroid or give you radioactive iodine. And I wasn't interested in either of those therapies. So I meditated on this with power and intensity and found all the people in my life that I needed. And within 6 short weeks, I was completely healed of my Graves' disease, my incurable Graves' disease.
Yeah.
And I did it with a few things, the Berkson protocol with low-dose naltrexone, alpha-lipoic acid, and I used Chinese herbs, and I used selenium and Brazil nuts to nourish the thyroid, and ashwagandha and astragalus, and all of these wonderful, nourishing thyroid and adrenal herbs.
Yeah.
So the answers are there. How did we get on this topic? We were not going. But anyway.
It's all related is the thing,
It is all
when we're
related.
talking about perfect health, when we're talking about being healthy, it's really, a lot of us think of the body because, it's kind of about this, how do we look on the outside? But really what we're talking about in this entire summit, in this entire, way of being is how do we feel from the inside out?
Right.
And that, as you were talking about, is related to everything, but specifically here our relationships with people around us.
And that's where I got there, because everything that first appears bad is always good.
Right.
And the universe is always conspiring in our favor. So even though we have an intention and it doesn't happen, it's because that we can't see something much bigger and greater and grander moving in. We can't see it because this is all we can see. We can only see what's in our windshield right now. We can't see what's moving into our life. And when we focus on what we want with clarity and we meditate on that with power and intention, it happens fast.
Yeah.
And so the same is true with our relationships. I've had to put distances between, people in a toxic relationship. And that doesn't mean you don't love them anymore.
Right.
It just means you're moving on to a new place. And surrounding yourself with people who elevate you and lift you up and make you feel good. And that doesn't mean life is without challenges. But when you go through those, acknowledging the challenge and acknowledging that it's here for your highest purpose, that it's here because there's something that you're supposed to learn from it.
Right.
And it's here to teach you something and trying to figure out what the lesson is. But the people, one of my favorite, vibrational frequency, which is just, elevating as well with music and hugs and laughter and relationship and love, and surrounding yourself with people who make you feel incredible and telling them they're wonderful and they tell you they're wonderful. And, I have 3 amazing children that shower me with little hugs and kisses and a supporting and loving husband and nurturing friendships and family. And that is one of the most important things.
But you didn't always have that.
I didn't know No, I didn't always have that, and I didn't always recognize the importance of that. I mean, even in my business, when I first started my business, I would allow people to squash me and to say things that were incredibly painful.
Wow.
And I don't do that anymore.
So what do you do?
I'm very
what do you
clear.
recommend? Yeah.
I'm very clear before someone starts working for me that I've never wanted to do this alone. We're collectively doing this. And there's no, if I screw up or if I say something, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
But I'm not deserving of being yelled at or being spoken to in an inappropriate way. And so I set the standard really high.
Right.
And that includes social media.
Yeah.
If I'm always very clear on social media, you can express your opinion and we can have a conversation.
Right.
But if you're going to be derogatory or inappropriate or use foul language, no. Block, I guess is what we do on social media.
Delete,
block. It's
which
not
is the same
appropriate.
thing we can do in our lives, right?
Yes.
And it's easier on Facebook to hit delete, of course, than somebody who you've known for a long time. But you're just sparking a memory of mine, because as I've gone through these transformations over the years, I've had to basically give up very meaningful relationships with people that were very close with me, friends and family, and people I grew up with, people I spent many years with, people I had many experiences with, that became, that were friends, that became brothers or sisters, and because of that toxic relationship, or I was heading in a different direction, I had to let that go, and sometimes it's very challenging.
Right.
Like you said, life is not without challenge, but for us to progress and us to experience that level of full, perfect health, like we're talking about, we have to have the courage. We have to have the willpower to say, you know what, I have to move on. Right. And sometimes it doesn't even require, an explanation. Sometimes it's like, you just have to do it.
Yeah.
And other times it requires a really in-depth conversation. But if the other person isn't really ready for what you have to share, they may not respond very well.
Right.
And so we have to be willing to just, put up our shield and say, you know what, it's not about me. That's about them. I need to go on with my life.
Right.
And so it sounds like that's what you've
yeah,
done in your business. And
another great phrase that I love is that you're not responsible for what happens. You know, you're not responsible for someone else's actions. You're only responsible for your reaction to it.
Yeah.
And that's all you're responsible for. You know, you're right. It's them going through their stuff, and it's not your stuff.
Right.
So.
Beautiful. So relationships are a major part of our overall health, and if you're in a toxic relationship or have toxic people around you, you know, space, yes, space. Also, that inner work. That inner work will help us to realize that the relationship is toxic and what we can do about it. Because the more, you know, like I like to say, the more purified we become, just meaning that cleansing our bodies, cleansing our minds, cleansing our emotions, and just purifying ourselves, the more like-minded people we're going to attract into our lives anyway.
Right. And sometimes you have to just, you know, they're family members, you know.
Yeah.
They're always going to be family members. You have to love them exactly the way they are.
Yeah.
And
non-judgmental.
Right. Not, I will love you if only you would.
Stop.
Right.
Nagging at me.
But just love them exactly the way they are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, beautiful. Well, thank you, Lisa. And how can people get in touch with you?
TheRawFoodInstitute.com. We do 4 retreats every year. We have online programs. We have lots of classes and webinars and courses. And of course, I speak all around the country. So we would love to see you in New England. We have a great place.
Beautiful. Yeah. Her place is amazing. The work she's doing in the world is really incredible. I highly encourage you to get in touch with Lisa, and also do us a favor and share this video with others. We want to get this information out to help as many people as we can. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Nathan.